John Musselman from Musselman Home Inspection, and on this channel we like to teach people about different things that have to do with your homes and how to take care of them. So today we're going to talk about the differences between older installation of stucco and new installation of stucco. The older installation of stucco oftentimes could have been over masonry or over wood frame. The types that we're concerned about are stucco over wood frame, and the reason is that we're worried about water potentially getting behind the product and causing damage or water infiltration on the interior of the structure. The places that we pay attention to are obviously the connection points in between the stucco and the wood itself, but then behind it. This particular material here is masonry. So in this application, I'm not so worried about stucco over masonry from a standpoint of water infiltration. Although we still want to make sure that we're sealing properly around the windows and keeping the water out, but I'm not as concerned about the water getting to the framing, which could be behind here. What I want to show you is that in new installation where we have it over top of wood frame. When we have it over top of the wood framing, the old installation was almost directly applied to the wood. So the house was framed up, the wood studs were there, the OSB or the plywood would be applied to the studs, and then you'd have a WRB or a weather resistant barrier that would go on there like tar paper. And then you'd have wire mesh, a brown coat, and then a top coat of stucco. Well, all is good there as long as water doesn't get in behind that product. And the way that we do that is by sealing up around the windows and making sure it's as weather tight as possible. But where we have different components meet this type of material, like roof line and wall intersects, windows, those are all places that are vulnerable places for water infiltration. And the only way that we know if there's something going on behind this or if water's getting in is by doing invasive testing. And that's where we actually physically drill below the windows, usually about 4 to 6 inches down, and we stick a moisture meter in there, and then we test the wood and see what the moisture content is. We don't want to see high levels of moisture in these areas. The new system of installation of stucco has a drainage plane beyond it, and I'll show you the different components that make that up. The other piece that I wanted to show you is telling the difference between whether it's stucco over masonry or stucco over wood frame. One of the quick and easy ways for you to determine this is by hitting the wall. If it sounds hollow, most likely it's over a wood frame. The other way to do it is look at the windows. Wherever your windows are, if the wall thickness is larger, then typically that's going to be a masonry type of structure. But by hitting the exterior wall, it's a quick way to determine whether it's stucco over wood frame or stucco over masonry. One of the deals with older installation, or one of the ways that we can tell that it's an older installation of stucco, is again how it's applied. So the things that we look for instance, are up here at this roof and wall intersect. Today when we would install in these locations, we'd put what we call a kick-out flashing there. And a kick-out flashing is a piece of metal or plastic that fits at the bottom of that roof line, and when the water comes down, it hits that flashing and pushes it away from the wall so that the water doesn't creep its way into this wall, causing deterioration to the structure. That's one of those pieces that if our homes don't have, whether it's stucco or any other material, we increase the probability of having an issue. Our goal is to try to prevent this stuff from happening. So by sealing our house the proper ways and keeping our eyes on the locations that oftentimes cause these issues is the best that we can do. The other thing with older installation is at the bottom where the wall meets the foundation, we don't see that separation or that weep screed. And we don't see that the material is pushed beyond the foundation. It's right in line with it. So here again, if the water gets in there, it can work its way all the way down to the foundation. When we're doing testing, invasive stucco testing, we'll test right below where this is leaking, or right below where it could be leaking, I should say, and then all the way down at the foundation line, because water can sometimes run behind the stucco all the way down to the foundation or all the way down to the rim joist. The ways that we tell the difference between old installation and new installation is what we physically see. So some of the items that we're looking for as home inspectors and stucco inspectors is the materials that make it up and how they're put together. So around windows, we're looking for expansion joints. Also in walls where we have differences between levels, we're looking for the expansion joint in that location. Where our roofs and our walls meet, we want to see kick-out flashings there. These are all the components that help deter or push the water out of the structure if it were to get in. The other piece that we're also looking for is down here at the bottom. This is what we call the weep screed. That's where the materials that are behind this that create that drainage plane that we want to have allow the water to come back out if it were to get in. Our first layer of defense with these products is first stopping the water from getting in. So as homeowners, we want to make sure that we're sealing up around the perimeter and making sure that we're doing our best. This home here was recently painted, recently caulked, and those are the pieces that you have to keep up with in order to make this system do the best that it can. With the new installation, we lessen the likelihood of having trouble because we have that secondary drainage plane, but us as home inspectors can't tell what's behind this. So the only way that we know what is happening is by physically drilling into the product and testing the substrate to see whether it is leaking or not. If you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out. We at Musselman Home Inspection like to do our best to educate people. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.